One of my greatest friends asked me, "Could you send me another video about the noises?" He was speaking about frequencies, otherwise known as hertz. He went on to say, "When I listened to it for the first time in my room, I literally could think. It was weird AF. Everything was clear as day." Here is that video for you, Dre. So before we begin, I ask that you pay attention to the screen simply because I'm going to be posting pictures and videos. So the noises that Mr. Dre was referring to were known as isotonic tones. Listen here as I play one for you. But more specifically, isotonic tones playing at the same time across two separate frequencies, otherwise known as binaural beats. Isotonic tones alone are great, and there are many different frequencies specifically that can target different things. Have you ever seen the videos of frequency affecting salt? Never? Okay. I'm going to put one in the video right now. I want you to watch. You can see that as every frequency is played, that the salt takes a different shape. Now I want you to watch as the same thing is done with water. Seeing that the water moves at the rate which the frequency is played, it creates shapes out of the water. Long story, a lot of information short, that exact process is what's going on within our bodies when we listen to these frequencies. Now, for example, the resonating frequency of a healthy liver can be played out loud to promote healing within a liver that is not in such good shape. This is a very brief description of isotonic tones, and they really need their own video to be understood thoroughly. That brings us now to the main topic of our video, binaural beats. A binaural beat is when one isotonic tone is played in one ear, let's say the left, and another in the other ear, let's say the right. Right now I'm going to play some for you. Put some headphones on and listen. You won't be able to hear it unless you have headphones. Okay, I want you to take just the right one out, or if you have over the ear headphones, put one cuff off and listen. Okay, now put it back on and take the left one out. Okay, put them both back on or in. That swooshing or waving like pulsing that you're hearing isn't actually in the audio. It's your brain trying to reconcile the frequency mismatch, producing the internal beat inside your auditory cortex. In other words, your brain fills in the missing frequency and tunes the difference between the tones into a beat only you can hear inside of your head. This affects your brain by forcing the left and right hemispheres to synchronize to the same internal rhythm. When both sides operate at the same frequency, the brain becomes more coherent, more connected, and able to process information more efficiently, creating a more unified and activated neural state. So turn your eyes to this Instagram post that I had created and shared with my story. Essentially, it was just some research done on what a theta wavelength would do to your brain listening only for 15 to 30 minutes. And so you can see that there was a group up on the top right, which was the group that was listening to the theta wavelength. And on the bottom left, it was just a silent group. After about 10 to 15 minutes, you can see that there's a deep red spot. And that quite literally is the brain being more activated. So this brings me to the point. The reason that binaural beats are important is because they affect something called your brain waves. What's a brain wave? A brain wave is a rhythmic electrical pattern produced by groups of neurons firing together at a specific frequency that reflect your current state of consciousness. Your brain creates electrical waves known as brain waves that govern your state of consciousness. Your brain cycles through different frequency states all day, like stations on a radio. People don't realize you are not the one turning the dial. The world is doing it for you. The environment is what's controlling it. When you use binaural beats or isotonic tones, you're specifically, rather, I should say, manually tuning your brain to a frequency it already uses. Only now you're the conductor and not the thing being, rather, I should say that you are not the reactor. The reason you want to do this is because it gives you control over your mental state. Binaural beats change the wavelength at which your brain is operating from. Children, typically from the ages of 2 to 7, are more in the theta wavelength state. This is the imagination state of the mind. Highly suggestible, creative, intuitive, and deeply absorbent. Kids in this phase basically learn by downloading reality. And of course, every adult was once a child, and you can remember how creative and playful you were back then because your brain was operating in those slower, more imaginative wavelengths. So then what is the point of any of this then? Well, here's the point. You can activate/calm your brain down just by listening to these beats. Dre had reported, when I listened to it for the first time in my room, I could literally think. Because of the first time, Dre reported that when I listened to it for the first time in my room, I could literally think. Because for the first time in a long time, his brain knew true synchronization. Even the CIA knows about this type of stuff. I want you to take a screenshot of what I'm about to post on the screen right now, copy it, paste it, and search it in Google. This CIA paper is a classified analysis of a training system developed by the Monroe Institute in the 1970s and 80s, called the Gateway Process. Its entire purpose was to determine whether audio-induced brainwave states, specifically hemispheric synchronization created by tones, if it could alter consciousness, enhance cognitive performance, improve memory, problem solving, and creativity, enable deep meditation, remote view, and expanded awareness. This is not conspiracy. This is literally an official U.S. Army/CIA analysis. Oftentimes I laugh because it sounds so funny. When we think frequency, we think of music. And so why was the CIA interested? They were not studying music. They were studying how sound frequencies change the brain's electrical patterns. They realized that brain waves equal frequency, consciousness states equal frequency, and external sound can tune the brain like a radio, as I said on my Instagram post. The government wanted to know whether using precise sound frequencies could enhance intelligence or create altered, highly focused cognitive states. Now, we'll cover this document at length some other time, but for now, I want to share with you the results / I guess you could say the side effects of what it is that they said the results of the testing groups were. So direct your attention to the screen as I'm going to read an excerpt from the document itself. Part of the development of the method, no efficient technique was available to generate a hemisync state. It may be true that those in a focused, relaxed state in prayer, meditation, or similar physical quiet states may produce periods of such synchronization. One test of a Zen master with 20 years of contemplative study indicated that he was able to produce the effects for long periods. So I just want to highlight as well before we move on to the actual benefit or result from what they said this can do for you is that when we go into prayer, when we go into meditation, that is when we're creating these focused states of wavelength within our brain specifically. And so the outside world disrupts that. And so my brother Dre, when he's saying that he finally has a state in which he says he's, quote, quote, we'll just call it peaceful or no noise in his brain, he's quite literally creating the state with the beats instead of him doing it himself. Work with the Monroe system and the brain hemispheric synchronization coherence has brought forth a number of interesting prospects. Some of those are: number 1, balanced health. The first and prime effect has been a stabilization of the mental and physical energies of the participant. This usually appears between the 10th and 11th session, each 45 minutes in length. Most report dynamic changes in physical vitality, more restful sleep, and a greater sense of well-being, a general serenity, new enthusiasm for living, and release from false identities and obligations, to name a few. Generally, each begins with the statement, I feel better. I seem to think more clearly. After the 10th exposure, the change is often permanent. Participants so report this some 2 and 3 years later after the experiment. Number 3, surgical support. Applied before, during, and after surgery, when used in its entirety, this special system helps the patient in reduction of anxieties, control of life energies, reduction of pain, and acceleration of natural body healing. Patients consistently report major gains in all of these areas. Number 4, control of pain. It is not yet clear why this method is as effective as indicated. The suggestion for control of chronic pain would appear to be quite insufficient to provide the dynamic changes reported again and again. As little as 1 week of work with the tapes has been often sufficient. There is some speculation that it is related to the effective notes in number 1. Number 6, psychotherapy. When applied in the interview setting, the hemisync mode appears to help the patients reach very quickly long submerged levels which have resisted penetration by most traditional means. It has been stated that 10 interviews using this system may be the equivalent of 10 years of orthodox treatment. Number 7, problem solving. The coherent brain-mind focus in a given area by specific patterns apparently has a far greater capacity to view any condition from a holistic position than normal consciousness. It can be speculated that it is the result of simple utilization of complete interaction between brain hemispheres. In a demonstration with a group of 45 executives of a major corporation, participants were asked to seek the best answer they could for his own individual problem. While experiencing hemisync, 30 reported decision solutions of a quality for the most part unexpected. Each was sure it was the right answer. Number 8, accelerated learning. The pure synchronization effects alone offers many potentials. In types 2 and 3, by the simple provision of focusing of attention, for example, its use by students while studying enhances retention and recall. One college student was able to raise her college grades from 2.5 to 3.9 average in 1 quarter using this method. Another test showed an ability to perceive and remember oral information at a rate of 1,000 words per minute. A speech compressor was used to create this material. Another participant was able to multiply two 80-digit numbers mentally with 100% accuracy. Without the hemisync effect, he had difficulty with sets of 2-digit numbers. Multiplication tables from 13 to 24 were used as rote material with 60% accuracy and recall after one session. Under the same conditions, mental, physical, coordination activities were simulated with the form of guided imagery. Particular tests were performed chiefly in sports where any changes could be measured. The most indicative of these took place where 6 golfers all reduced their scores by as much as 5 strokes. The implications that the method could be employed in more constructive directions and in many forms appears to be limited only by the need. Number 9, creative stimulus. A well-known training authority stated that over 30,000 engineers on the company's payroll, savings, and/or profits could be increased by some $200 million if the employees group added 2% of their creative ability. Response in this area from the Monroe system has been so consistent that perhaps one day the Institute will be able to conduct such an extensive study as this. Tests already performed with a small and diverse engineers group, some 11 in numbers, have shown a probability to surpass easily such percentile. Several in the group have developed new designs in their respective fields, which were interesting enough to warrant patent applications. A common question I receive after explaining this is why don't doctors prescribe this, or just to say modern medicine in general? They cannot become rich by selling you the cure to the sicknesses that they've created. No good businessman, or woman for that matter, is going to give you the keys to run their business, thus putting them out of business. These tools are designed to allow you to reach your highest potential, a thing the world doesn't want you to be. Rather, I should say, a specific group of people existing in the world. They don't want you to because then they cannot make money off of you. As you can see, binaural beats are a very powerful tool. So how can we use these to create an effect on our mind for the better? Let's first cover every wavelength and then a simple protocol for you to use them. Delta waves are the slowest, deepest electrical brain waves your brain produces. They dominate when your consciousness is at its lowest activity level, also known as the wavelength in which your brain is in when it's at the point of REM sleep. What do? Help you stay in deep sleep / your dream state, cellular repair and regeneration, immune system activation, automatic healing processes, and it also is when you're releasing growth hormone. This matters for mind hacking because the delta state, is the state where the body heals itself automatically. Your consciousness is almost offline, so the subconscious takes over. Theta waves. What are they? Theta waves are the imagination frequency. This is the state between sleep and wake, when your mind becomes highly creative, intuitive, and programmable. Just to make the point as well, this is why children's minds are so easily impressionable, because they're receptive to everything at such a deeper level. So what do theta waves do? They help you in meditation, deep relaxation, visualization, and creativity, accessing the subconscious mind, memory consolidation, emotional processing, and give you a heightened intuition. They matter because when your brain is in theta, you're more open / extremely open to learning, imagination, reprogramming, emotional release, and new beliefs. Alpha waves, the state in which you're relaxed / awareness or in your flow state. What happens? You're calm but awake, light meditation, your stress decreases, creativity increases, you feel more present and centered, and the mind becomes more open and receptive. It matters because alpha is the gateway frequency between your consciousness and your subconscious. It's the ideal state for manifestation, visualization, and learning. The beta wavelength governs thinking, focusing, day-to-day consciousness. What happens? You're logically thinking, problem solving, decision making, your alertness is increased, as well as your external awareness. Why it matters. Beta is your normal everyday thinking mode. It's how you perceive the world. Too much beta, however, can lead to stress, anxiety, and overthinking, so it's important to do it only in moderation. Gamma waves, the state in which you have peak awareness and high-level cognition. What happens? You have high-level processing, intense focus, heightened perception, mental clarity, lightning fast connections across the brain, aha moments, so to speak, and deep compassion and spiritual insight. Why it matters. Gamma is your high performance mode, associated with monks, advanced mentors, and people in heightened states of consciousness. As far as how do you use these or a protocol, truthfully, there really is necessarily a way to use it just as much as you can create your own binaural beats by having a sound frequency generator. You can download different apps on your computer or your phone to do this. Across YouTube, there's all kind of different binaural beat videos where they overlay different sounds like musical instruments and things like that. But truthfully, I would say if you're looking to get the quickest, most 100% sure binaural beat, just go ahead and make it yourself. You can do it on your phone if you have an iPhone or Android, or you can do it on your computer by just downloading some kind of musical software. There's all kind of tutorials on YouTube. And so with that being said, this essentially is just a video to put this in front of you so you can become aware of it. Not necessarily a video that's going to be in depth about everything that it is. So if you would like a video on specific wavelengths or things regarding binaural beats and isotonic tones, drop some suggestions in the comments and I'll make them. But until next time, that's it.